Oh, the my streaming software has just gone live without me pressing anything. I hope that's okay. We've just jumped straight in.
We're jumping straight in. No, I'm
We're
ready.
jump, we're jumping straight in, and now it's telling me something's gone wrong. Bear with me a moment.
No problem.
No, no, we're live. We're live. It's happening. We're here. We're here,
Ready
Liz.
or not, here we
So
are.
here we
Okay.
are. So just one thing to mention before we get deep into it. When I say goodbye at the end, that's to the audience, not to you. So don't jump straight off when I say
Okay,
goodbye.
that is a good pro tip because I did an interview like this recently and I just jumped right off and then he sent an email like, "Great meeting you." And I was like, "Oh, sorry."
Yeah, stay on there just in case. That's the
You got
best
it.
thing to do. But we're here now, Liz. So I'm so looking forward to your show. I've been following your journey as you go to Edinburgh.
Thank you.
Lizzy Sunshine. Tell me about the show that you've got there.
Yes, I am so excited. Lizzy Sunshine is my one woman double act. So the show is with me and my brother, and we do this show all the time. It's supposed to be grand and funny. And on the big opening number, he does not make his entrance. And I'm like, oh, no problem. Lizzy Sunshine is cool and fine and normal, and she'll make you laugh and cover it and cover the whole show. And so the show is kind of just like a nonstop freight train, her covering it, very funny, very funny, she says of herself, but very funny with lots of different kind of bits and characters and gags. I try to have a new gag every 15 seconds, maintaining and checking, will he be here? Will he be here? And in the end, we find out why he will not likely be here this show.
So I think you can say it's funny because this isn't the first time you're performing this show, is it? You have already had audiences. Tell me about where the show's come from and where it's been.
Yes, thank you. So I just finished a run in New York. Right now it's the primary home has been New York City, and I just finished a run at Soho Playhouse. So I did in their space, in their lower level space in New York. I had a sold out run with it's like 55 seats in the theater, so every show was sold out. And that was
Nice.
crazy. So kind of developing the audience in New York, the best feeling in the world was looking out in the audience and being like, "Oh, I don't recognize everybody," because previous versions of the show I had done was just me and like every one of my friends who I had begged to see it. That's when it first started about a year and a half ago. I did it for a festival that was like a solo shows only festival in New York called SoloCom. And I did 25 minutes of my show. And I essentially just like condensed it down really short into this time slot. And I got lucky because the woman who would now be my director happened to just go see that show to see somebody else, not even to see me. We didn't know each other. And she really loved it and the premise. And now here we are.
I think the most beautiful things and connections in life happen when they don't happen on purpose, when we don't force them, when there's like these natural connections. Tell me a
Yeah.
little bit about that meeting with your director then.
Oh my gosh, yes. It was so like meant to be. And I feel like with this whole show, it has been as if it was there all along and it was up to me to like chisel the ice to
Yes.
unveil what was kind of already in existence. And with Makena, my director's name is Makena Reynolds, and having her as my director made just absolute sense because she was so supportive from the jump. She saw it. She sent me the nicest message I've ever received in my life and saying, she really loved it, really believed in it. She came back and saw it when I did it for the first time, the full hour in New York. And she was there just to see it and support. And if you, my show, I have rose colored sunglasses that go under every seat. And she helped put the sunglasses under the chairs on my second show I ever did of it. And then we didn't talk for a while because I wasn't working as diligently on the show. I had a big gap between. And then when it was time to do the show again this year, this summer, I bumped into her and I was like, "Hey, like, I know you helped me with Lizzy Sunshine in the past. Like, I'm up to my eyeballs. I would really love support, maybe in a producing role." She goes, "I would like to direct. And I think I'd be very good at directing it." And I said, "You would be very good. I need a director." And I had hit the point where I was like, I need a director. I can't do this by myself. And it's the best decision ever. We actually just had tech this morning, and I would not have survived that 4 hour tech if it had not been for McKenna.
So you're there in Edinburgh, just about to like hit the ground running and go dive into the show. When is the first show?
Yes, I'm sitting in my beautiful Airbnb here
Love it.
in Edinburgh.
This looks
Yes.
quite nice from
Yeah,
what
it
I can
is. It's
see.
it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's called the Wee
Upmarket.
House.
The
Everything's
wee
very
house.
we. Yeah. I'm here in Edinburgh. Yes, we had tech today, and tomorrow is my very first preview. So tomorrow afternoon will be the first preview, and we're going to try to work out all the kinks and the lighting, and the projector today wasn't working. So
Of course.
it's, yeah, of course, of course. But it's the show that goes on, so we make sure that it goes on. And it's been wonderful in Edinburgh so far. I reached out to a lot of community organizations that surround my show's theme, which is addiction. And so
Mhm.
I reached out to some support groups in the city who work with addicts and family members of addicts. And yesterday I actually went and had an in-person meeting and met a bunch of people in the area, and they're all going to come to the show. So
Aye,
I've made some
nice.
cool community connections despite not living here.
Mhm. How does that feel? That it sounds to me like you've been embraced by those communities. What does that feel like?
It feels so cool to be embraced by those communities. It's me, if you imagine me wearing this shirt actually,
It's
sitting in
nice.
a room, thank you, sitting in
Nice
a
and
room.
colourful.
Yes, of course. It has crazy sleeves too.
Love
But
it.
here I am, dressed like this, sitting in a room with like these very hardened men from Niddry in Edinburgh. And they're like, "How did you
Mm.
find this neighborhood? How are you here?" And they're like, what is going on? But we relate and we connect in the stories. And one of them had been in prison for 20 years in Scotland, and we were comparing the prison system there versus the prison system in America. And to just kind of like get along and chat and riff and tell jokes and understand their accents. Shout out to me.
Mhm.
We it was a great feeling. It makes me feel like I'm doing the right thing in the right place, and that it's gonna be okay, even if no one shows up. It'll be. I'm glad I had that experience. You know.
You're glad that you're finding the connections, and I wonder if that is at the end of the day what theatre is all about. Is about connecting us through these stories, and even before you step out onto the stage, you're having that.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. Yes,
Mm.
write that down. That's good.
Yeah.
Write that down. Theater is about connecting us. I think for me, the acid test of if the show has gone well, or how it feels after the show. It's not how hard did people laugh or whatever, whatever. It's if someone comes up to me afterwards and they say, "This is my story too," or I have someone,
Mhm.
with tears in her eyes be like, "My mom is an addict and I always felt like I had to be the sunshine," or I get messages after a lot where people feel they see themselves in this character who is trying so hard to hold it together by, any means necessary. So that part's really cool. I had one guy come up to me and he's like, "I'm Michael Sunshine." And I was like, "Hi, Michael." It was really cool because he resonated with the character.
Mhm. And so you said a little at the beginning of this conversation, you feel like this idea came from somewhere and you're sculpting it out of ice. Where did you find it? Where was the idea born?
Yes, the idea was born. Literally, I'm glad I'm sitting in this chair because I have the
Okay,
notebook. I bought a
nice.
notebook in
Hmm.
January 5th of 2024, and I wish I could tell you what it was. It was just like, I don't know if it was like God's light hitting me like lightning or something. But I bought this notebook and I was like, I'm going to start writing. It was a leap of faith to kind of believe in myself because I think prior to that I never thought of myself as like a writer. I
Hmm.
thought of myself more as like an actor and a performer or whatever. So I bought this notebook and I was like, I'm going to write in this notebook. And the very first page, January 5th, 2024, says, oh, this is so cheesy, sorry. "I've
No, I
always
love this.
known it
Keep
would
it.
be a show. It's always been a show." Drama. Um, but on this, I just listed everything that I already know that I love and think is funny that I've done or that I do. And like six of these things are in my show. So it just kind of started as a list of what do I already know is true about myself. I think Lizzy Sunshine was a grand homecoming for me, thinking I don't need to invent something other than myself that will be very funny and pithy and wonderful. I can actually just look within and be like, what do I actually think is cool, funny, and true, and what have I always thought was cool, funny, and true. And that's where Lizzy Sunshine came from. She's my 11-year-old self. She is this like crazy little kid. And I feel like she's been locked in my I'm from Iowa, childhood bedroom. And it's like this show, and the process was essentially like knocking on my childhood bedroom door, opening it, seeing her by herself in there, and being like, "What are you doing in there?" She's like, "You left me here." And she's just playing by herself. And I'm like, well, you live with me now, and your room is my room. We're going to be together. And ever
What
since
a revelation.
yeah. It was. And so like
Yeah.
all of these things in this notebook, one of the things really is Lizzy Sunshine, because that's what my mom called me. My
Wow.
mom, if I would come home from school and like my brother was sick for many years in my life, it's very difficult because he was a sick child and it was no one's fault. And I would come home from school and my mom would say, "Give me some of that Lizzy Sunshine," because I was having fun and was a well child. So
Mhm.
that's where Lizzy Sunshine came from. I always thought that would be kind of a cool title of something I would do, but that's the story. That was
That's a
rambling.
no, we're not rambling. We're discovering things here. Like we're finding things. Like I want to go to that 11-year-old, and I'm having a similar thing at the moment where I feel like there was an 8-year-old that I left behind for a long, long time, and it isn't till I discovered what I was supposed to be doing later on in life, in my late 30s, that
Mm,
I was like, okay, 8-year-old, it's time to come back now. It's time to like re-enter the world. And I wish I hadn't. I'm sorry that I left you for so long. I'm
yeah,
sorry that I got confused and thought I should be this adult. And it's
literally.
like come back and let's play and let's have fun now. Now that we're at this point,
Yeah,
like maybe I was doing some protecting of that 8-year-old in some strange way.
I'm
Maybe
sure
that's
you
what
were.
try. Maybe that's what trying to be an adult was. But now I'm like, no, 8-year-old, come back. Let's have fun. Let's do this.
Let's do it. And I feel like becoming a fully formed adult or like living in your truth or artistic self really is just loving the things that you loved when you were 8 or when you were 11
Hmm.
and embracing them without any like shoulds or trying to be cool. Like I feel like you embracing your 8-year-old self is also you being okay with being cringy. You're like, no,
Oh yeah.
like you gotta be cringy. You gotta be cringy and you gotta be a tryhard. Those are the two
Yeah.
things that I think middle schoolers are told, like, you don't want to seem like you are trying too hard or you don't want to be cringy. And like that is my greatest advice for anyone who's like, I want to do a show. I'm like, you're gonna have to really embarrass yourself and
To
you
lean
have
into the
to
cringe.
lean into the cringe. It's the cringe cringe.
And so this is my anniversary week of doing the podcast. So I've been doing this for 2 years, and I recorded a special episode where I feel like I'm so leaning into my 8-year-old self and so living into my cringe. I don't care what anyone else at this point thinks of it or what they make of it. Like it's totally bizarre. I sit down with 5 or 6 imaginary friends, and one is my best mate Jake, who is a bird. I sit down with a monkey. I sit
Yeah.
down with a snail, and we talk for like 2 hours on the podcast, and it's just madness.
Do
It's
you
the
do
most.
different voices for the different
No,
friends?
no. When I say imaginary friends, they're as real as Kermit the Frog, and they're
Right.
puppets. They're puppets.
Oh.
They won't like me referring to them as puppets, and I don't like to because to me they're real at this point.
So was that something you did a lot when you were a kid as well?
Yeah,
Was puppets
oh,
and
it was. Yeah, I loved the Muppets, and I loved Jim Henson, and I was so absorbed in that world and found it so fascinating. But yeah, then as I was an adult, I came away from that, and I came away from that play. Even though I've been had a life in theatre, this just sounds weird. I've had a life in theatre, but I still came away from play.
like that doesn't sound weird. I think that sounds very relatable. I have felt the same way. Or especially like getting into comedy for me, like feeling like I need to do stand up or like need to
Mm,
do something so like
good.
yes. And you
Like,
lose the play because I'm like, it has to be
mm,
funny. Like the enemy for me is like this. I point here because it always feels right here, and it's like, don't fuck it up, Liz, or don't screw it up. Like you gotta be good. And if it's not perfect, they'll never forgive you. Okay, and you'll never have a chance again. And you just
mhm.
have to be perfect every time. And what that does is like turn on fight or flight in my brain, and I can't actually be creative, and I don't like I don't know. You have to. It's like clowning, right? You have to like embrace the flop and be okay with being like cringe or bad or whatever.
I think when we do these things as well, you talked about like the lightning from God, and without getting too spiritual, like I believe there's like these ideas are like floating, and we have the opportunity to grab them and
Grab them.
do something with them, or like maybe there's an antenna that we have on that picks up on them. And I'm feeling like for me, as I go into play, my antenna is like on full alert. It's
Your
like,
antenna extends when
yeah,
you
when I play, it's like, right, okay, now I am open to these ideas as I
Mm.
play.
That's beautiful. I totally agree. And I'm fine to get a little spiritual because
Yeah.
I always say, like, I think God or spirituality and stuff should be like your cafeteria tray. Like, you have your
Mhm.
tray, and it's no one's business what's on your tray but you. And you can kind of take different things that you learn and whatever and put it on your tray. And that's for you to eat and fill you up in that way. And for me, I've decided, because it's my tray and no one else's, that God loves improv. God loves kissing. God wants me to be well and have money and and I mean, not that I have a lot of money, but God wants you to succeed in whatever way is true of you. And when you're being your kind of most creative or authentic, for me, artistic self, like, God or universe or whatever is going to reward that with little pings or little antenna,
Mhm.
ding, ding, dings. And if I'm wrong and this is wrong, and when we die, the atheists are right, I'm not going to like regret believing in that. I'm going to believe in
No,
my fun God.
did you know what? As well, for me, that's so similar to me. That so before I used to be, I wouldn't, I'd never say I was an atheist. I'd never say I was like a complete disbeliever. But at the same time, I never fully believed. And as I've moved into belief and faith in something more, it's made my life more fulfilling and better
Yeah.
as I've done that. I can't fully explain why, but it's almost like it doesn't matter what's at the end.
Yes.
It's irrelevant because right now it's good.
Because it's good. Yeah.
Mm.
And you don't, I think for me, I've also stopped feeling like I need to tell anyone else that I feel. I mean, where I'm telling you right now because it kind of came up, but I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
feel the need to like preach it and like be like, everyone should feel this way because it's my tray. It's none of anyone, it's no one's business, and their tray is none of my business. So, but I do think my inherent faith, like what you're saying, like getting more trust, it's kind of a trust in self or trust in path or universe, has made me creatively much braver
Mm,
because and much more kind of on my own path with my own antenna. It makes me less, I don't go, oh well, so and so's doing that and I should have blank blank followers, or I kind of, it helps me, not always, everyone's human, but to be a little bit more like, that'll come, like, I'm on my path, like if I was supposed to do it how they did it, then I that's how it would have gone, but I'm me and we're different. So it helps me kind of stay in my lane creatively, and like in a, it's given me more confidence that my work is worthy, and or that it's okay that I'm doing this. Like, I think I always thought like, well, that's not a real job, Lizzie. You got to figure it out and be a real person. But this is what I'm doing, feels just as real, especially being here at the Fringe. I'm like, oh, I'm a real lady. I'm a real lady, and I'm really doing it.
So was there a turning point for you? Was there like a pivot moment where you're like, okay, it was what things were one way for me, and I had this view that maybe I was a bit, that I was looking towards others too much. I was too critical of myself. Whereas now you sound like you're someone that's embracing life and finding your path. Where was that moment where it like shifted?
Yeah, I think, thank you for asking. It was probably in the middle of last year. 2024 was a huge shifting year for me. I did some just like weird, I did The Artist's Way, that book, if you've heard of it. Highly recommend. I feel like it would totally speak to you in this 8-year-old rediscovering that you're
Hmm.
having on your own. That book
The
really,
artist way. Do you know who wrote it?
yeah, Julia Cameron is her name.
Okay, I'll look
Mhm.
into that one. I'm looking for some new books on Audible actually, so
Yeah.
I'll download that one tonight.
Yes, it's a book, it's a workbook as well. So you write every day. And I think that is what changed my confidence the most, is that the first conversation I have every day in the morning before I look at my phone usually is with myself and my inner voice. And I fill up journals, I do at least 3 pages a day. And so
Hmm.
the first voice I hear in the morning is myself and my inner thought and my monologue, whatever it is. And it's
Hmm.
never anything brilliant. It's like, oh, my head hurts and I wish I slept better and I don't want to do this and yada yada. But it like clears the decks a little bit for me to then feel creative. So I think that knowing myself better through writing made me trust myself more, made me compare to others less, and has carried me through the year. And then in addition to that, I don't know what the heck happened, but I just decided last year that I didn't want to work my day job anymore. I was an assistant to this woman, and it was a fine job, but it took way too much mental energy. And so I think the combination of the artist's way, journaling every day, and quitting that job, literally full faith, I was just like, I'll find something, I'll pay my bills, I'll figure it out. Um, it kind of I have this fun quote that I love that it's like it's our inner commitment to our true selves that sparks the support of the universe. And so and probably also a little bit of delusion. So, but I quit the job and then I was booking commercials and I got this and that and I am definitely the poorest that I've ever been, but I am the happiest I have ever been. And I feel like good things have been happening and people have come to the show and I'm getting more opportunities. So if I just keep going and I don't give up now and I don't give up on myself, then like I'm headed in the right direction. The wind hopefully will continue to be at my back. I just can't leave the right direction, you know?
Being delusional, that's something that I say to my children a lot as they've left education. I feel like education system in this country is very much this is the set way that you do things.
Mm,
These are the rules in which you're going to move through society. And that was a mistake for me. That didn't work for me at all to try and fit into those rules.
yeah.
So as they're on that kind of like discovery moment, I'm kind of like, be delusional, just whatever it is that you want to do that everyone tells you you can't. Just go find it. And
Aw,
it could be crazy. It could be mad. It doesn't matter. Without the delusion, I think society will hold us back, and society will get us being drones. I think that's, and what kind of a life is that for any of
yeah.
us?
You sound like such a great dad. I would love to
I
have,
appreciate
yeah, to
it.
have that kind of encouragement in my corner or a
hmm
dad who really prioritizes creativity is wonderful. I mean, my dad's fantastic and prioritizes and is wonderful in his own way, but is definitely more and he's a son of Greek immigrants. My family is Greek and I think the way and like the rules and kind of doing things the correct way was big for me as well growing up. Like, you want to go to university and you want to get a good grades and do a good job. And I'm glad I did that because it taught me a really good work ethic.
hmm
And now I'm not. I don't know that I'm using. Well, I don't know if I'm using my degree. My degree is in film, but I'm certainly using what I learned there and all the connections and like friendships that you make in university. That helped too. But I think, yeah, prioritizing creativity is a win.
I think there is security in the way. There is, in the way that society wants you to do it, and there is a lot of that. If you go and do a normal job, practice to be a lawyer or a doctor, and all these other noble pursuits, all these other things that they matter. Um, and yeah, there's security in that. But if you are naturally a creative, I don't think it's something that we should be fighting.
That's wonderful because when you fight it, that's when I call it like the non-self. When you're like, I could, especially when I feel like folks like us who are in theater and acting in that way, we have a lot of skills. Like we could, do lighting design or we could do this and that because you have lots of little skills everywhere. But I think the non-self, when you're doing something that you just really shouldn't be doing, it's hard. It like makes everything around you
Mhm.
harder. It's like when you're dating the person you really shouldn't be dating, and then it makes everything else in your life crappy. Like, yeah, artists, the best thing you can do is let yourself be an artist. Which I
Mm.
literally am a year and a half in, so like let me chill. But so far, so far
You're
it's been good.
you're year and a half in, but and we let's go back to when you were at university studying film then. How did you know that that wasn't the thing for you? Because that's also a creative pursuit.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
No,
sometimes like we can be on a creative pursuit in one direction, but that's still not quite the thing. So how did you pivot there?
yes. So I actually, college in general was a pivot for me. I grew up doing theater and performing my whole life. And I think my parents, everyone expected me to go to school and be a theater major. But something weird happened when I graduated high school. I don't know if it was my boyfriend at the time. I was like, I need a real job. And I could not possibly go to university and not study something real. So I actually was majoring in like communications and business when I first started university. And I was miserable. Oh, I was miserable. Oh, I was so miserable. My hair was falling falling out. I was like a shell of myself. I was so depressed. I didn't do anything. And that was when I switched to the film major because I don't think I could switch to theater. So I switched to the radio, TV, film, which was very artsy. And I loved it. I learned a ton. And it isn't not what I'm doing. It just let me focus a little bit more on comedy specifically and less on theater. So I don't think I would do it differently if I had to do it over again, though I am jealous of theater kids who got to take like dialects class. Like I think I would have enjoyed it. But the path happened for a reason. It led me to Second City. So when I was in undergrad, I decided to go do Second City and do their conservatory training while I was in college still. So that really was helpful because that kind of let me hit the ground running a little bit more when I graduated university in
Mhm.
2019.
I think as artists, creatives, we all have a unique perspective, and that journey is the perspective. And that's, if you'd have done the whole drama school thing, you probably wouldn't be doing the shows that you're doing today, would you? You wouldn't be able to put the spin on this production that you are.
That's so true. Yes, because I wasn't performing for a long time, and it was the coming back to self that kind of led to Lizzy Sunshine. Yeah, I don't think I would have been the same. If I had been a theater major, maybe I would have burned out on it or something different, but it's all kind of gotten me to here. And here really is just a place of confidence that like I can do this. I enjoy doing this. It's okay that I'm doing this. No one's mad at me. Like I literally have to be like, you're safe, you're okay. Like because it's just been a long time. I've always wanted. I feel like I'm kind of doing the thing I always wanted to do, but never said it out loud for fear of being either embarrassed or for it failing. Because it's so scary when you say something you want out loud, and then what if it fails? Like what if it doesn't happen? Still, that's how I feel a little bit with Fringe. I mean, my first show is tomorrow, and I'm like, if two people come, like, what
What?
then?
What then? What then? If two people come,
I'll do the damn show. What do you mean?
exactly. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. That is a good reminder. Yeah. Yeah.
So as we're at this moment now, where you're at the fringe, you're about to go, you're at the starting line. What are your hopes and dreams for the journey ahead?
Okay, my hopes and dreams are I meet very awesome, cool other artists from all over the world, like in networking, and I get to see all of their shows too, because like when else do you have the opportunity to do that? I want to see a lot of shows. But my hope for myself, I want to sell out one show. I think if one show sells out, that'd be really cool. It's only 55 seats. We can get 55
You
souls
can
in a
do it. You
room.
can do
We can
it.
do that. So
Yeah.
I want to get really good at flyering. I want to sell out one show. I really want like Rosie O'Donnell. She's doing Gilded Balloon too, and
Hmm.
I'd love if she came to see my show, which is
Yeah.
crazy, but I just love her,
Do you
so I
know what?
really
Do you
hope
know what?
for.
Do you know what? She's on my wish list. So I believe in writing things down. If there's something like you with your journaling, I do the same. And literally there today, this morning.
Hell yes. That's so cool. Literally,
Yes.
I write things down too. I don't know if you can see, but on the mirror of my
Mhm.
Airbnb, there's a sticky note here and a sticky note there, and they both say like one says trust and one says you can do this. So I'm
Yes, we're
really
we're catching the dreams. That floating.
we're
We're
trying we have our
catching the. We're
antennas. Our
putting them.
antennas are up, Martin. They're up.
Yes, they're up. They're out and ready. Sorry, and sorry. Just because like the dreams were
I love
aligning
it.
there. So
No.
we've got to find a way to meet with Rosie O'Donnell.
Yeah, I'd love for her to see the show. Other than that, yeah, I just want people to see it. I hope it resonates with people. There's always the fear that it's like too American and no one's going to get it, but I don't think that'll happen. And I do hope that I bomb at least once with like a very small audience because that teaches you who you are.
Mm.
I
You
don't want to,
mentioned
but you know.
no, no. I don't think we want failure, do we? We don't want the bomb, but I think it sounds like to me at this point you've realised there's a lot to gain from it as well. And so that's the same as like going back into that leaning into the cringe thing. There's a lot to be offered from these mistakes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think my hope, especially after talking to you, it's very energizing to talk to you. And I feel
Mhm.
like my hope going into the fringe is that I'm as cringe as possible. Let's be cringe because I feel like being cringe is being free.
I
And
love that. Yeah.
Yeah, and Lizzy Sunshine to me is a celebration of this version of myself, this younger version of myself that needed to adapt this part in order to survive and get by and figure it out and grow. But now that I'm older and I'm kind of on the other side of it and I'm an adult, it's like me kind of grown up Liz, here I am, can sit with Lizzy and celebrate her, but also retire her from having to run the show. And every day I do Lizzy Sunshine, every show she's celebrated and retired because at the end her show is done and it's I Liz kind of take over and Lizzy Sunshine can kind of rest because well you have to see the show, I'm spoiling it, but the end
Of
of my
course, yeah,
show,
and
yeah.
I've got my ticket booked today, so I will be coming to see your show.
Martin, this is the best news I've ever heard. Bring everyone you've ever known, loved, and hated.
I'll be bringing them along with me, and
Oh,
this has been a wonderful conversation, Liz. I really do appreciate you sharing.
yeah.
As we wrap this up, I have actually got a hypothetical question for you.
Oh my gosh. Okay,
So,
ready.
okay, so we're going to play here. We're going to go on a little journey. We're in a time machine right now, and we're going to go back to that 11-year-old Liz, and we're going to go and pick her up, okay? And we're going to bring her to your theatre, to your space, and you're going to sit her down in the audience. What would you say to her before the show starts?
I love you so much. I love you so much. I love you so much. That's all I would say. I would say you are so loved. Oh, you are. I'm gonna cry. You are so
Do you know
loved.
what that brought a tear to my
Yeah. I
eye?
love you so much. Thank you. I would
I
say
want to
thank
fist
you.
bump you there.
Yeah. That's what I would
That,
say. That's
that
what I
was
would say.
beautiful.
Yeah.
We're crying.
We're just crying.
You,
Just
you
crying in
couldn't
the
have said that
podcast.
more beautifully. That was wonderful. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for
Oh
asking.
no, no, that's okay. Yeah, that was special. Thank you.
It was
I do look forward to coming to see your show. So where do I find you?
yes. You can follow me anywhere is at Liz Coin. So my name is Liz Coin and Instagram, TikTok, all of the above is at Liz Coin.
Wonderful. Well, thank you. And if anyone has been watching or listening to this conversation, thank you for joining us. We appreciate you.
Yes, thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you, Liz. Bye
Thank
bye.